This video is going to talk about converting this vintage Hollywood light into a modern LED light that you can then use in your house. It's a Richardson Type 407. It's a baby SolarSpot. These things were, I think this one was made in the early 50s, and they would have been on TV sets and film sets in Hollywood. This was made in Hollywood, probably into the 2000s. So if you know anything about halogen, you know it gets very hot and too hot actually to use if you want it in a household environment. 1,000 watts gets really hot. And as it turns out, it's not that hard to replace the halogen socket with a common household socket, or they're called Edison sockets, that you can then use an LED light bulb in it. So in order to do that, you need to take it apart. There's a box at the bottom of the light, and it just takes normal screws, flathead screwdriver. You need to remove that box as well as the box holding the light switch. And then there's a couple of screws that are going to hold this blue, the halogen light socket into the box. And 2 screws, they're rather long. You pull them out and undo the wiring. And you want to take the blue socket as well as one of the screws to a hardware store. And so with the blue socket, you want to match the spacing between the 2 screws into the identical spacing on a new socket. That's the key to this whole thing, is getting that spacing to match. I was able to do it at a small hardware store, a non-big box. I would assume a big box would have them as well. And then you don't really need a long screw. So at the hardware store, they typically have a place where you can measure the screw. How wide is it? What's the pitch? I don't know the various terms, but you want to measure the screw or get someone to help you to measure the screw, and then just buy a shorter one. And that is about it. The only other thing you may be interested in is because this is so old and because they got so hot, the wiring is kind of corroded. So you can replace the wiring in this box that goes, from the socket to the light switch with just standard lamp cord. The 1950s heat, electrical, maybe it's asbestos. And there also might be some asbestos between the Fresnel lens and the housing that holds the lens, and that is very easy to disassemble. It's just a few screws. If you don't know what asbestos is, you can look it up. It's in small quantities, not a big deal. But some people want it removed. I took it out, and you don't need the industrial wiring in there because you're just, using a standard LED bulb, and those don't get hot. So these are pretty cool. I would say they may not be everyone's taste, but you could use them in a house, in an office. Like I said, I was interested in getting the light stands more than the lights, but the seller wanted to sell both. And just for reference, size-wise, it maybe is the size of a basketball, a little bit bigger. And if you put the barn doors on it, then it's like twice the size of a basketball. So they're not small, and they're not everyone's taste. And so with the barn doors, you can get a very, very accurate shaping of the light. And I like it. I don't know that I would buy the light just for itself, but the light stands that I got with it were really nice, and I've had a few of them, and I would go out of my way to find them again.